Hi everybody, I'm Essie.
And I'm Jess.
And this is
Rollin' Fatties,
a weekly podcast with two fat queer femmes rolling it up.
and spilling the tea.
Episode
11?
11?
Yeah. It's funny because we're filming a bit more in advance than we normally are because I'm going on vacation next week. And we didn't want to leave all of our 10 fans nothing to watch. I'm just kidding.
We are very excited that we're getting a little more traction. We doubled our Instagram following this past week.
I've started following people who I admire, who are in the same space as us.
Yeah.
It's fun.
We're just trying to put stuff out there and find the people that want to find us. And that's exciting. And hopefully that's you.
Yes. Welcome. Join us.
All right. How are we imbibing this week, Jess?
All right. Let's see. It's so fun. We were just talking before I started filming about how we are getting low, which means we have to refill, which is always fun.
Very exciting.
Some of our favorites might come back. All right. Today we are going to be smoking a bowl.
Yes.
It's a classic for a reason.
Got one ready. Is there weed in this grinder?
There is our Rolling Fatties bowl. Okay.
Beautiful.
Sorry.
Oh, you don't need to apologize.
I recently presented at work and sang during it, similarly to how I just did that. And I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. My ADHD is taking over.
I've always been a little bit of a singer. One time my mom got called from school because I was singing to myself as a little girl doing math. And I was just 2 plus 2 equals 4 and 4 plus 1 equals 5. And my mom was like, is she doing her work?
Then who cares?
Yeah. Not diagnosed until 35.
Your shirt matches our Rolling Fatties setup today.
It does. Both this shirt and this skirt belong to Jess.
It's pretty awesome to get to share.
I was going to say, living with somebody you can share clothes with, especially as a fat girl, is top tier.
I have only ever done it once. My friends, or my roommate back in when I was 21, right out of college, was also fat. And so we were able to share clothes a little bit. All right, what are we talking about today?
Ooh, okay. This isn't super light, but I think this is okay. We're going to talk about friend breakups and girl crushes.
Okay, fun.
Okay. Yeah, I think friend breakups are oftentimes even more difficult than some romantic breakups, but we don't necessarily give people the same space to grieve those relationships, or we'll be it's not that big of a deal, especially if it is with someone of the opposite sex. People are oh, it's just at least when you're femme, right? People are oh, it's just a dude, dudes, blah. But I think that friendship breakups even with dudes are really difficult and painful, and we don't acknowledge that enough.
Yeah, I also think we don't have a process with which to break up with a friend. So what I mean by that is when you're in a romantic partnership with someone, I think of course people break up with people in all kinds of ways, but the expectation is that if you're gonna break up with me, we'd sit down at least over the phone or in person and talk about it, and you would say I'm not happy in this relationship,
I don't want to see you anymore, here's why, but I care about you, whatever.
Exactly. So you tend to get a little bit of closure. Again, I've certainly had breakups that did not go that way, but I think that is a societal expectation.
Yes.
But with friends, we as a society don't do that. And so friend breakups can feel very abrupt. They can feel very unclear. It's in my experience, more often than not, in my friend breakups, they've either just kind of disappeared, fucked off and never talked to me again after years of friendship, or I'll get just a text message that's just we're done.
I don't want to be friends anymore.
And that isn't something that a romantic partner would do to a good romantic partner would do to me. So I don't really know why someone who's friends with me for a decade or whatever would do that. So I think we also don't properly talk about how difficult they are in the grief process, and also don't really have a structure with which to do it.
Yeah. I think too, with the thing about girl crushes, so I think what that combo of things brings up, right, is at least for me, like I knew I was queer when I was young, but I know like you maybe didn't like not like necessarily know that, but like you've talked about how like yeah, everyone wants to like kiss girls, like you've
Yeah.
had those feelings. So like I think with queer adolescent friendships too, like if you're still figuring it out or like you don't know what those feelings are, like those like really difficult like adolescent friendship breakups and like this line between trying to understand what those complex feelings are of like I love this person, it was just a friendship, but also like was it just a friendship, was I projecting these other feelings on them that I didn't understand at the time.
Yeah.
And I see a lot of content about that stuff. Like I used to be a Tumblr girl. Tumblr was a very queer space. And there was a Tumblr called Just Girly Things, and it's all just very stereotypical, mostly like white girl stuff, but not exclusively, but very girly things like, you know, holding hands on the beach, just girly things. Like, why doesn't I want somebody to do these things with? And in the last couple of months, there was somebody who popped up on my Instagram, and it was like, "What's something about you that people don't know?" And it's like I used to run this viral thing on Tumblr called Just Girly Things,
God.
and it was really cool. But also, she was a lesbian.
No, I was gonna say, I was like, what you're describing is like how I felt. Like, yeah, I just want a girl to like hold hands with. It's like totally just a girl thing, but no.
But then it turned out to be clear, and the same thing happened with Just Girly Things, and that's exactly what I mean. Where I was like, as a kid, like maybe you didn't recognize it as that, but like when you're older, looking back, it also makes me think about like I've probably said this on the podcast before, but I don't know, I don't remember. But like most of my formative sexual experiences were with other girls, right? And I had sex with like a man for the first time when I was 18, and it was some dude I met at a party, and it didn't mean anything. And I remember being like, I can't believe I lost my virginity to this man who didn't mean anything to me. And looking back on it now at like, you know, my grown ass age, I'm like, I already had plenty of sex. Just not.
Yeah, that was your penis virginity, I guess.
Correct. But like I had already had plenty of insertion experiences. Like that was not my first time even with anything like phallic, you know what I mean? It was just my first time with a man. But this like cultural understanding of like what is sex and what does it mean to like have sex or be a virgin, like none of that shit is like that shit's all fake. It's all bullshit. It's all part of like religion and like patriarchy and nonsense. But there's something to be said for all those like overlapping, confusing feelings about like sex and romance and girls and queerness and all that stuff.
Yeah. I think you bring up a good point. So like when I think about like two of my, let's say like most meaningful friendship breakups, and I feel like a lot of times when I've talked about it with friends or my therapist, like I do get asked, well, did you have more than just platonic feelings for that person? And I'm like, no, I didn't. But as somebody who doesn't see like me being with a man as like the most important relationship in my life, like just because I didn't have romantic feelings for those friends doesn't mean they weren't fulfilling a similar like life partner role. So like the grief is really large. And like I feel like, I guess what I'm trying to say is when people ask me, oh, well, were you romantic with them? I feel like that almost like
it negates the intimacy.
Yes, it negates the intimacy that I felt like I still had with my platonic friends.
Totally understand that.
And like thinking about, I mentioned her at the beginning of this episode, but my roommate when I was like 21 or out of college, we lived together for like 5 years. We were best friends. We were both mostly single during that time, but like we were dating and we were like fucking people. But we did everything together. Like we lived together. We'd wake up and it would just kind of be expected. Like, let's go get brunch. And like, we'd go shop like every day, all day we were together. And like, I never thought of her as like my romantic partner. And even looking back, I'm like, no, I don't remember having any kind of like romantic or sexual feelings about her, but I definitely had like life partner feelings. Like she is my person and we are going to be together forever. And when she's one of the people who ghosted, and when she ghosted, like it felt like my romantic partner had broken up with me. And like, so I agree, from a very early age, that's what made me start to feel like I don't think romantic partners are the most important. I think they're one of many types of like partners that I want to have in my life. And like how frustrating it is to have society be like, well, you'll get over it. Yeah, it's, oh my gosh, it sucks, but like you'll find more friends.
I think like it's so wild too, that dichotomy of the importance of sex defining a relationship.
Yeah.
Because like if you're talking about like, you know, was this relationship real? We didn't, you know, have sex. It wasn't sexual. It wasn't romantic, whatever. At the same time, when people talk about their romantic partner and you talk about like sex being a part of their relationship and they're like, you know, well, like it's not just about the sex. Even if we weren't having sex, I would still be best friends with this person. I love this person. So like if you can recognize that sex isn't the most important part of your romantic relationship and why you love that person and why you want to be with them and spend time with them, then why can a relationship without sex not be just as intimate and important?
Yeah.
Like, and similarly, my sister had a situation with like her best friend who they lived together for like 15, 20 years. And when they like broke up and like, you know, they weren't friends anymore, my sister was like, okay, well then, like, I don't want you to live here anymore. And that person moved out. They're not friends anymore. But like people acted as if like my sister should just like,
Get over
well, that
it.
wasn't your partner. Well, you weren't like in love with her. It wasn't a sexual relationship. My sister's like, we lived together for 20 years. This was my best friend when I went away to Japan. Like, this is like one of the only people that was still talking to me and like kept up with me. Like, this is a person I've been through many things in my life with and made me like seek help when I was like not well after our mother died. And like, this person was really influential and really important in my life. No, we didn't have sex, but does that mean like
why
that
is that
person
the thing
didn't deeply affect
that
me
matters?
and I don't have trauma from losing this person and this friendship? Like,
But in the same breath, you know, I feel like my Instagram reels is full of reels being like, your female friendships are the ones that stick with you forever. They're the ones that are magical. Like, men come and go, your friends stay forever. So, like, how are we getting that message? And also, until you find your romantic
your
partner,
person.
right? I was recently meeting with a psychiatrist, a new psychiatrist, because I was trying to find care. And I was saying how, like, I don't feel like I have a lot of, like, local friends here, like, to be available for things. And she was like, but you have your partner. And I was like, yeah, I do. And she was like, he's your friend? And I was like, yes. And I want more. Like, that to me isn't enough. And like, that seemed like a wild concept to her, that like, because I found my person that like I should be happy. Like, that's enough. And I'm like, that has literally never been enough.
Yeah. That's how we are like socialized and conditioned to be. But I also feel like because of relationship expectations and gender roles, no matter how much we try to like get out of them, like I feel like being in partnership with a man, like you have to be male centered. Not because like if you're with a man that means you are, but because of how men move in relationships. Like men don't really socialize outside of their romantic relationships. So you kind of have to socialize them and engage with them and make them play together. I saw like a sketch today about like husband daycare and I was like, yes, like this part where like when you are put in that role of like having to socialize your partner, no matter how queer you are or how like whatever you are, that impedes your ability to like continue to socialize with your like girlfriends, your female friends, however you want to put it. And like I've noticed that as a person who's been queer and friends with a lot of straight people. Some people are like, am I straight? And you're like, yes, you are. Like, it's fine.
It's okay.
It's okay.
Straight. Not a choice I would make, but
like, anyway, like anytime those people couple off, no matter how much they talk about friendship and wanting friends, like those people still end up prioritizing their partner, because if they don't, then their partner feels like that she's not taking care of him. Like, we are always put in these like impossible positions as women like with men. And like I feel like that's why I struggle more in my relationships with men, in my romantic relationships with men, because I demand they step up more. Like I'm just like, I need you to have friends and a life and to do stuff outside of being with me. And then when I feel like that's not happening and I'm losing my sparkle and my fun time with my friends because now I'm pouring more into this romantic relationship because I want this person to be around. And then I get to the point where I'm like, well, why? Like, is this person adding to that? Like, but like, I also feel like, is there something wrong with me because that doesn't feel natural to me? But that is just also like how society tells us we're supposed to be.
Yeah, society rewards that
Yes,
behavior.
100%.
And if you try and fight against it, it's
Deviate.
hard.
It is hard.
And I say that as someone who has a male partner and like definitely experiences what you're talking about, and like finding the balance of like trying to live within that structure, and also my other friends are living within that structure as well.
Yeah.
It becomes hard.
Yeah.
And like we don't put enough, as a society, put enough emphasis on friendships and like the importance of them,
I agree.
to give us a foundation to like keep those going as like people. And I'm like talking about like the world in which people in friend groups start to break off and like get married or have kids or settle down or move to the suburbs or whatever. And like I don't think those things have to naturally mean we can't be friends anymore, but I think the structure within the society that we live in, it makes it really hard.
That's how it goes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it is not without its struggle. It's not without its fight. Like, yeah. I feel like it's financially and socially encouraging to partner up with people. And also, I have always been a person who's been like more committed to making art and like having alone time. And even like when I was with a partner who like supported those things in theory, right? Like loved me being an artist, told me like they didn't want to take away from my time doing that. I also like felt like whenever I was alone, they told me that being alone made them feel like they were being punished. Like they didn't like being alone all the time. So like me taking time for myself, like I always have to lose that somewhere. And yeah, I don't know. If I feel like I'm losing myself and I'm losing my ability to like make stuff and have time to just like be alone, I'm like, that's okay. Like I don't need that. Would I like I'm poly. I would like romance in my life, but I'm at a point in my life where I'm back to how I was at the end of my 20s, which is like that's not really what I'm looking for. If it happens, it happens. That's great, and I love it, and I love love, and I love sex, but I don't like having sex with people that I don't care about. And yeah, I love
sex.
I love myself, and I love making art and doing stuff and empowering other people to do those things too. And at the end of the day, that's what I care about the most.
I think I said this on the Jersey Shore episode, but I do feel like today, like I don't know, like in the last couple of years, it's become really popular to like, I don't know, protect your peace and boundaries, and like I support those things, but I think they're being weaponized.
Yes, they're way overused.
Yeah, in a way that makes it like it's becoming acceptable to drop people like from your life without a conversation, without attempts at repair or reconnection. Like it's just like like I'm protecting my peace.
And then if that person like is hurt and like frustrated and like bothered by that, like they're made to feel like an asshole.
Yeah, like this is my boundary. You have to
that part.
You know, and like I've even seen people do this where they send that friend breakup text, and it's like, don't contact me again. You're blocked. It's like, so I can't even facilitate any kind of a conversation with you. And like, I don't understand how we can treat other people that way, period. But how you can treat someone you've, claimed to love, let's say, over potentially a long period of time or not. But you also probably wouldn't do that with a romantic partner. Like that would be an extenuating circumstance. And so I think that I just find that so frustrating. Like nobody has to be friends with anybody. You don't have to stay friends with someone if they're not really serving you. But I do think it's important that we look in and say like, well, why do we find it so easy to drop a friend out of our lives, and like when we don't do that with a romantic partner?
Yeah. I think like, yeah, there's so much there. I feel like I could talk about this for such a long time. But also, yeah, just like friendships are not always about like when people make you feel good. Like the longest friendships I have, the best, richest, most important friendships I have are people that I've also had like difficult conversations with, people that I have vehemently disagreed with and told like, I don't like it when you do this. That's really hurtful. or like, hey, I think you're putting yourself in this position, this situation, and like, I know you're unhappy, but like, you're at fault.
Yeah.
Like, you fucked up and like, you need to do something about this. And like, some friendships only last as long as you are telling somebody like, your feelings are valid, you didn't do anything wrong, let's go get brunch. Like, it's not always about good shit. Like, when you can call somebody, not call somebody out even, like call somebody in, whenever you can be like, I love you so much, this thing you did was not okay. And like, not even necessarily just to yourself. Like, I've told people before, like, you owe that person an apology. Like, I love you and that has nothing to do with how you treated me, but like, what you did to that person was not okay. And you owe them an apology.
Yeah.
And like, if you can't handle your friend, somebody who loves you and cares about you and is afraid of losing you, and they still tell you something that you don't want to hear, because that means that they care about you and trust you enough to give you that feedback. And like, that doesn't mean they're not worried about your feelings or they don't care about your feelings. They probably deeply do. And they said something difficult anyway because they love you and care about you and they want you to do better. Like, that's a real friend. And the people that I have had in my life the longest are people I've had conversations like that with. And if you can't handle conversations like that, you don't deserve really good friends.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. Like, we have so many words for relationships, like situationship, casual, talking phase, committed, married, so many. But friendships, it's like, they're my acquaintance or they're my friend.
They're work friends.
Maybe they're a best friend. Like, but there aren't a lot of words for different levels of friendships. And I think it's like, we allow for this idea that if you're having sex with someone or romantically entangled with someone, that there might be ebbs and flows, that like you might go from being casual to committed, or to everyone knows someone who's like broken up and then continue to have sex. Like, there's so many levels that you can go up and down with a romantic partner, and like, we accept that as all still part of like the world of dating. But like, it should also be acceptable for friends. Like, it can ebb and flow. Like, if you have a friend who has a kid, let's say, it might be true that for like a couple years you can't hang out as much as you used to, but that doesn't mean they aren't your friend anymore. Like, it can be okay for like it to go up and down and like to stay connected to people.
Yeah.
But like, it's interesting that we don't even have a word for that. Like, I wouldn't know how to explain that in a word.
No, yeah, there's always it's just all you have is bestie. I've got besties. And it's always been weird to me because like, I've always been somebody who had like multiple best friends because of that. Because of like, well, like, this is somebody who's like my best friend from high school, and like, this is a person I grew up with, and like, this is somebody I met in college, and like, we got like, and the intimacy of those friendships and like how strong those friendships aren't really about time. Like, but there's no other way to say it other than just like my bestie. And when I was younger, I used to be like, is that weird? I don't want to like hurt people's feelings. Like, this person said I was their best friend, but I have like multiple best friends. Is that weird? And it also makes me laugh because I'm just like, of course I was like natural to lean into polyamory. But I'm just like, is it weird? I've always had multiple best friends. I've always had multiple people that I like deeply care about and love, who I would refer to as like my best friend. But I don't know, like, but in that way, I'm just like, I've been very lucky. Like, I haven't been necessarily as lucky in romantic love, and that is okay. Like, I've always been very lucky in friendships. And yeah, I wish that society recognized the importance of friendships as much as romantic relationships.
Thankfully, we do.
Yeah, we do. Well, thank you so much for listening to our podcast, for watching, hopefully smoking at home.
And being our friends.
Being our friends. You should subscribe if you're not already to the YouTube. You should follow us on Instagram and on TikTok. We're Rollin' Fatties Pod.
We're also on Threads.
Oh, shit. Yeah, we are. We're on Threads now, too.
Where you get any random thought that pops into my head at any time.
And then, of course, you can email us at rollinfattiespod@gmail.com.
Yeah. You'll get a personal answer.
Yeah, you will. I'm Esse.
And I'm Jess.
And this has been Rollin' Fatties. See you next week.